Hi guys, welcome to another episode of the Arsenal Away podcast with me, Samrid and Ashwin. Just getting our social out of the way. We're on Twitter at the Arsenal Away. We have a Facebook page, the Arsenal Away, and of course, where we upload all of our content. We have a YouTube channel called the Arsenal Away. Click the subscribe button, click the bell icon to get notified when we put new stuff out. We generally try and do two pods a week. Three if we're both okay with our schedules. But the idea is always to provide you guys with the latest, with what's happening with the Arsenal, and of course, our thoughts sitting 1,000 miles away. Um, two two great wins over the last week or so. Three wins on the trot. I don't think that's happened. I think since the second month of the season. A tough week for us, but we came through with flying colours. The 4-0 at Newcastle, the 1-0 at away to Olympiacos, where we didn't seem like we might end up getting a result, and of course a come from behind win at home against Everton, against a good Everton side. Let's be fair, and yeah, so it's been a good week for us, and that's not very often you've heard Ashwin or me say that, but Ashwin, things are looking up finally.
Yeah, it's been a positive week for us. Starting from that week against Newcastle, I mean, the game against Newcastle last week at the Emirates, where to be fair, Newcastle won the best in the second half, and we stepped it up in the second half, scored all four goals in the second half. We saw a similar pattern towards the Olympiacos game as well, where I think the first 10, 20 minutes we were really lucky to escape keeping the score 0-0 because they had a few chances and they probably caught us cold and we weren't ready for it. Second half, we stepped up. Great ball from Saka, finding Lacazette. Lacazette getting 2 goals in 2 games. So that scuffed shot that he got against Newcastle really, I mean, it helped because it saw that it followed after that goal followed by another goal. Just shows that how much confidence a goal can breed into a striker. Even like a striker at the ilk of someone like Lacazette, who honestly shouldn't be needing that sort of confidence boost to help his game, but you could see that happening. But yeah, towards the end, you could have said that Olympiacos were a little lucky as well. We had a few chances in the last 20 minutes where we should have made it maybe about 2 or 3-0 and taken that advantage to the Emirates and made it a much more easier game for us.
Yeah,
But
we should have finished it off in the second half, especially right towards the end.
But something about even having a 1-0 win and having that one, even though it's still on a knife edge, it's still 50-50 and it's never over, I'm pretty confident that we should be able to professionally sort out the job tomorrow and not really, bring back the old Arsenal and, mess it up. But knowing us, we always let the other team, we always, they always in with a shout. Then it's never over. And yeah, and then moving on to Everton at the Emirates again, great game for us. Started off poorly. They scored, I think, in the 47th second of the game. I don't know what Kolasinac was doing, trying to fight off. Was it Sidibe who went up? I think it was Sidibe who tried to break the offside.
I don't know. I think it was I forget who broke free. I think there was a scuffle that happened, and then why that wasn't picked up, I don't know. But honestly, I think people are saying it was Kolasinac. There was not much that either he or Leno, for that matter, who was not at fault for the first goal, but definitely for the second.
No, but for the first
Not much.
one, just before the free kick is taken, you can see Kolasinac trying to wrestle with whoever the Everton player was and trying to bring him back. Why? Just let him go. And that probably got everybody confused. And it was pretty poor defending, even for the second goal. You can blame, I mean, I don't want to blame Leno because he probably saved our skins in the second half. Like, he made some 2 or 3 point blank saves and great saves to get us all 3 points, even though, so it looks like Leno is one of those people who doesn't get phased after making a mistake. Usually, in the past, we'd have keepers who, after making a mistake, their confidence would shrink, and they'd probably go into their shell, and they'd not be able to command the area like they usually do. But you could see that it didn't affect Leno that much, and that's a great sign in a goalkeeper. And not only that, Leno's had some great match-winning performances for us this season when we've been absolutely poor. So there's you really can't blame Leno for that mistake. Um, and it was tough. Like it was 50-50. I can understand him not wanting to go for that because he was trying to protect himself as well. But I have to talk about before anything. I have to talk about the lineup. It was strange that he brought Kolasinac on and dropped Saka, who's been one of our most consistent players, playing from left back. When he got, I hate the fact that Kolasinac got injured, but I don't wish this to anybody. But I was happy that he went off and Saka got to come back on because we looked a
Yep.
lot better.
We look much better. We look much
Yeah,
better. Yeah.
we looked much better. I'm going to have to ask you, and I'm going to have to bring this into you. What did you think of that ball that David Luiz played and that goal that Aubameyang scored?
No, so David Luiz has been known to play those through the line passes where he just catches opposing team both midfield and defenses by surprise, cutting through that. He's not the first time he's done that. He used to do that at Chelsea all the time. Just Chelsea was just better defensively organized, I think, for him to play those balls more often. But he has that in his locker. We've seen him do that in the past. Even outside, even Luis. I mean, even if I leave Luis aside, the cross for Eddie's goal, Saka on point again. There's a second time. It's a second goal he's assisted in a week with a cross with a whip that whip that ball had. Um, but you're right. I think this is hopefully there is now the understanding there for players to know that you have a Luis who can play those sort of balls at the back, and Oba, of course, being as lethal as he is, coming in from the left, cutting onto his right foot. People have said it was very, very Thierry Henry-esque, which is right. It was a hark back to those days. Um, Even Eddie's finish, for that matter, it was something that Henry used to. There's that one that image just etched in my mind about him receiving the ball in the air as well. Dennis
His
Bergkamp has done something similar
his last
with
goal for us when I think Arshavin crossed and
yeah,
against Sunderland, Henry had that
against
similar.
Sunderland. Yeah,
Yeah,
correct. That was very similar. But in terms of, I'm just, if nothing else, Ashwin, I think I'm liking that there is now, you can slowly see what Arteta wants, especially with him, with how we suddenly become from four at the back to three at the back with our wingers, with our fullbacks pushing forward, and Xhaka filling in for a left back who's as attacking as Saka when he moves forward, because that's what he wants. He wants some sort of security at the back, and Xhaka has been doing that reasonably well. And not only that, I think there's been individual improvements from players that are now very evident. Saka, of course, just because how young he is, he gets a lot of the limelight. Xhaka has been doing a decent job ever since he's been integrated and giving that vote of confidence. Mustafi, who's been slated all season, has started to look good. Um, our right Bellerin, while I still think his final ball needs a lot of work, has also looked decent. Maitland Niles also started looking decent. And this, in a way, this injury to Kolasinac, I guess is okay because we've got Tierney coming back as well, and we know that the likes of Osaka are there and the Maitland Niles are there to fill in for positions as and when they're required. Because I think the only player we haven't really seen much of in terms of a dramatic shift in how they're playing is Kolasinac. While every other player has, you've seen them either just get more aware or just marginally improve. And for a team as like ours that has been struggling, even a marginal improvement across all players will lead to a collective improvement. And I think that is what we're seeing. So in terms of individual performances, I think great. Really happy that Eddie scored after that shocker he had against Newcastle. Happy that Lacazette is on form. I didn't think he'd be dropped, quite honestly. But I understand why. Maybe they're focusing on the Olympiacos game because they know that's a must win before everyone gets a break. But no, so good times. 3 out of 3. We ran out of gas, I guess, towards the last 20 minutes or so. which was understandable given the week that we've had. But all good things coming out of these last 3 games.
I can't disagree with a single thing that you mentioned over there. Mustafi, Xhaka, all the players that every single fan has slated them, whether it's this season or last season. But the two of them look like new signings for us. They look like players that are playing with the most confidence and have the sort of ability to fit into this league perfectly. I don't know what Arata has done to them, but whatever he's done, it's amazing. I'm going to have to. I know we've given a lot of praise to Saka for what he's done. He's not a left back originally, but we pushed him there. He's 18. He's got 10 assists already. And I mean, people talk about how Trent Alexander-Arnold has, he's so good because he's got so many assists. I mean, he's got about 12 or 13 assists, and Saka's got 10, and he's not even a proper left back for him to make those sort of assists. And so you've got it's exciting times. We've got like the first goal that we mentioned it, made by Saka, scored by Eddie, both 18-year-olds playing at the highest level. So the future is bright. I have to bring in Aubameyang here. I think he doesn't get credit from a lot of our fans and from the world itself. His record is amazing. He's got 49 goals for us in about 70 games that he's played. Okay, I think he's one of the quickest to 50. And for a person who doesn't do a lot of talking, he leads by example. Now he's probably showing the team that even though he's not he Arteta came in, moved him from a central cycling position to the left wing. He didn't complain about it. He didn't whine about it. He just went on with his job. He's putting in the work rate. He's defending. So he's showing everybody that if me at 30 can do this, anybody else can do it, right? And it's time that, like, I think I was watching Gary Neville's interview where he said, it's time that we really start appreciating Aubameyang. He's joint top scorer of the Premier League after missing 3 games for suspension. I mean, he's suspended after the red card. Plus, he's been playing out in the wing, so he really doesn't get the credit that everybody should be giving him. That's for me. It's absolutely vital that next season we, even if we have to lose Lacazette or somebody, that we have to keep Aubameyang, because that rule about, oh, he's 30 now and we should be looking at moving him on if we get 60 70 million from Barca and Real. I think if we lose him, for us to replace the goals that he gets us, is going to be really hard. I mean, uh, I know it'll be the sort of crazy money that we had to probably give Ozil, or Sanchez was asking for, maybe about a 300k a week, or maybe 350k to keep him here. But if we have to do that, I think we should, because he's probably entering his prime now, and he'll probably give us a good 3 or 4 more years. And it doesn't look like he's going to slow down. Like at 30, he's still running, he's still fast, he's still defending, and he's doing it every single game. So for me, it's important that we do whatever we can to keep Aubameyang at the club next season.
I mean, I don't know. It's you're right. It would probably cost us whatever we sell Oba for, and maybe a lot more than that to replace those goals. Because, and quite honestly, there is no one out there who's at this point in time would want to come of that stature, especially to a club like ours. I think it depends a lot on where we finish. If we make it to the Champions League, either by getting that fifth spot or by by virtue of winning the Europa League, I think they will stay. Um, I don't see us making a decision based on emotion anymore. I think it will be, if we don't make it and he doesn't want to renew, then they will get rid of him. Be it Lacazette or whoever for that. Right? Lacazette, I think, has come out today and said that he sees no reason to leave. But believe you me, if we don't make it to Champions League, there will be a reason to leave, and those strikers will at least guarantee us a bit, at least 100, 120 million at least. So then we need to play it accordingly and be smart about how we invest that money. And which is why a lot is riding over. at least on the Europa League, for us to go both on league as well as the Europa League, for us to go as deep as possible in both these competitions, and at least have a fighting chance in the league. If we're 5 games to go and we're off by like 4 points from fourth spot or fifth spot, whatever that is, um, I think that is where we'd like to see the big players step up, which like they did almost last season when we almost won it, made it to the final. Um, so I don't know. It'll take a lot of rather not a little take a lot of convincing for them to stick around if we don't make it, because they have no reason to anymore. Which I think is been the biggest problem with us as a club as well. We've bought these really amazing players and we've just not been able to build around them. Ozil had that one great season, and because of us being toothless in front of goal, we couldn't win it that season. Now we've got Oba, who we signed him 2 years ago, and we're now battling it out for a spot in the Europa League or Champions League, which we should have ideally had last season if it wasn't for at least via the league, if not the Europa League. So the point then becomes that how long do we keep doing that? Um, Another thing what is really important is not only keeping the players, is it'll give Arteta some breathing room in the kind of players he wants as well. Because if money is a problem this summer, uh, then you're basically asking someone to do a job as tough as this with both their hands tied behind their back, and he's already doing that. He's shown people that he can work with this squad, which is not a bad squad. They just need replacements in certain key areas. um I don't know. I think it's still too early for us to say whether he will sign, not sign. Quite honestly, I think as long as he's here, we should try and enjoy him. If he sticks around, great, and we make it to the Champions League, great. If he sticks around still and he wants to go on a free, we don't really have an option. But I don't think I see him staying or anyone staying just based on if we get Champions League or not. Hopefully, the bigger sides knock themselves out. They face each other, get knocked out by the smaller club. There's some surprise there because we're literally clutching at straws as of this point, outside of what we can control.
I think the club should learn from their mistakes, and if Oba doesn't sign by say, I think they've extended the transfer window back to September 1st. So if
Yeah,
he
it's come
doesn't,
back to its original now.
yeah,
So yeah.
so if he doesn't sign by August, I think they probably put him up and get some sort of money back for him instead of letting him go in for free. Because I don't think that's an option that we want. Because a club like us, we know we don't have the sort of money to invest in players. But I have that sort of confidence. I don't know why, but I have that sort of confidence in the club that even if we might have a budget of 80 to 100 million, but we might be doing some sort of smart deals like we did in the summer, where we'd be paying like part payments here and then paying that over a period of time, which is why I'm excited. And I don't think we really need the superstar names right now. I think if we can get a few real, uh, I'm not saying average players, but not the big names who can basically come in, and do a job. Like we keep comparing this to the Liverpool team, but if you see the Liverpool midfield, Henderson, Wijnaldum, and probably either James Milner or even Keita, none of them are superstar names. Okay, Keita came for a massive price, and so did I keep forgetting the player's name from Monaco they signed.
Fabinho.
Fabinho, yeah. I mean, the two of them are great players, but they weren't world class when they were signed, right? Like, if I had to do a combined 11 for Arsenal and Liverpool, I'd probably pick our midfield over their midfield, even though they were like 40 points ahead of
No,
us
I
in the
get
league.
that. I think you
Yeah,
make a fair point. The thing then becomes is that those young coveted midfielders would not want to a club that is still building. Like they want to go to a slightly more established place where that they can compete. Then because this is how players are nowadays. They want to compete for those trophies right away.
hmm,
I don't think that ilk of players exists anymore that want to stick around for a few years and then build and hopefully see success. If that happens, great. Because for that you need an affinity with the club, and sometimes even having an affinity with the club doesn't always work out.
yeah,
So I think it'll be from what we're reading, the likes of Kike and all of that, I think that we've already made a few signings for the summer,
yeah.
and they're great. And whoever these players are, um, I it's whoever comes in. I just hope it's someone who Arteta has wanted and not people who've been thrust upon him. I think we'll see a different team. I think Pepe will be completely different next summer.
Mm.
I don't think we'll see the same. I don't think we'll see the same front three lineup.
He had
Uh,
another assist this game, though. The third goal.
yeah,
Great
yeah, you're
ball
right.
into
He had
the.
another assist. So
Mm.
he's been doing well. I just think um, there will be a much different look and feel to this starting 11 that Arteta keeps picking. With a few new faces, I think right across, at least the spine outside of the keeper.
And I mean, before we move on to the Olympiacos game tomorrow, I just have to give a shout out to Ceballos as well. Ceballos and Ozil, I think, even though Ozil's not been uh, getting his name on the assist sheet, but he's been making so many runs, and he's creating so much space for the other people to come into that, which obviously goes unseen. Someone like Ozil, you expect him because he's a big money signing. You expect goals. You expect assists on a constant basis. But you have to see his all round game, and his all round game has been phenomenal since Arteta's come in, because Arteta's, you can almost say, has probably tried to mold the team around Ozil and play it around him, because he's trying to use his strengths instead of Emery trying to pick his weaknesses. So yeah, Ozil was very good. I thought Ceballos had a tremendous game. Um, I'm still like, every time we keep comparing him to Santi, I know he's not a Santi. He's way off the level that Santi Cazorla was at. But he frees up Ozil. He we have another option from midfield who can play those through balls. Now with David Luiz coming in and providing those sort of passes, we are threat all over the pitch. So I think this is what Arteta wanted. Okay, I get it. We conceded 2 goals, and we still look shaky defensively. But after the week we've had, where we played at the Emirates, then traveled to Greece, played there in the night, stayed there the next day, had no training, and gone straight into the game on Sunday, was massive. So positive signs. I'm happy, obviously, because we're winning. We've obviously climbed up a table a little bit. From 11th, we've gone to ninth. But we're 4 points off fifth, and we're about 6 points or 7 points off fourth. With how many? 10 games to go. With 9 games to go. So it's definitely something that we can get and achieve. I'm not saying that we're probably going to get top four, but the way that league is gone, where Spurs are dropping points, United dropping points, Chelsea dropping points, and it just shows that if we put I know you've been saying this also, if you put a consistent run of maybe 3 or 4 games and put wins back to back, us being back in contention again for those spots is a possibility, and it's something I think Arteta is hoping for, because he knows if he gets Champions League, he gets to keep the likes of Lacazette, Aubameyang at his club. Then he gets some more money to invest into the squad, and all around the feel of the club will be better. More players will want to sign for us. So also commercial deals, it helps the club in a big way. So getting Champions League is imperative, whether we get it through the Europa League or we get it from the Premier League. We just have to get it this year.
Yeah, you're right. I was just looking at the table where we've got 11 games to play, and we're 4 points off fifth, where United are 37 and 41. So that's 33 points to play for, and I think during the week Arsenal came out and said that for us to then at least have a realistic chance, we need at least 22 to 25 points out of those remaining 33, which means winning 7 to 8 games out of the remaining 11. Which is, as anybody who watches enough of both Arsenal as the Premier League play, that is going to be ridiculously hard to do.
It is if
Eight
and
wins, eight wins will take us. So 7 wins will take us 15 wins for the season, and we're on 8. And that would be a decent season for a mid-table side. And we, in our current form, he's right. I don't see us winning 7 to 8 games out of the remaining fixtures.
uh,
We have to be really lucky to have to, and we have to be bloody good to win those games. If I'm being honest, I don't think we're there.
let me remind you, we still have City to play. We have Liverpool to play. We have
Leicester, we've got
Leicester to
Leicester
play,
as well. We've got
and we have
Wolves away,
Tottenham to play.
Tottenham as well. Yeah.
So
So
it's
April
not going
is
to be
our
easy.
April is yeah, it's not. It's not. I think this is the first time in years that I can remember months that have just been like December was a really tough month for us, and now April again. I don't think we've had this sort of fixture list in a while,
Mm-hmm.
where we've had 2 months of just really, really tough games. Otherwise, it would just be a bad November or a bad Christmas or a bad Feb or whatever. But this season has just been it's not been favorable to us at all,
which
basically.
is why it's really imperative for us to win our games leading up to April and try maximizing as many points as possible, because you never know. I mean, City, unless like Liverpool's already won the league by then and City have nothing to play for, and they really take their foot off the gas and don't concentrate on the Premier League at all.
See,
You know,
look, your top two are pretty much done, right? Liverpool's won the league.
I don't think second place is done. I think Leicester still has a chance of getting second place.
I mean, by second place, I meant your top three automatic qualification
Yeah.
places are done. Fourth as well. Fourth is, I think, still is an aspiration. But with where City are placed currently with their Champions League ban, wherever they finish, fifth spot will give us Champions League, or whoever it is on fifth spot will get Champions
Mm.
League. The point then becomes: do we, if and we have winnable games, at least the next three. We've got West Ham, we've got I think Norwich, both West Ham and Norwich at home, and we've got I forget. I think there's another club that we're winning. Well, let me tell you, we've got West Ham at home, Brighton away, Southampton away, and Norwich at home. Like, these are 4 games we should have definitely win if we need to be anywhere near, because then if nothing else, winning these 4 games is 12. That gives us maybe another 10 points to then play around with, for that target that we're trying to hit between 22 and 25 points. And for all you know, we win these 4 games, the guys above us start dropping points, and we'll be in the mix. It just depends. I think in a month's time we'll know. By the time the Norwich game comes to an end, we'll know what we need to do or what we don't need to do anymore, depending on how things go.
Loving the optimism, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not optimistic. I'm just being very like, I don't trust this team to go on that run. And while I've started to see things are improving, I think we tend to shoot ourselves in the foot more than anything else. Both the goals could have been avoided. The first 20 minutes of the Olympiacos game was I was like, this is done. This tie is over if we concede early. And credit to them that they held on, but you ca- you can't give the likes of us, your immediate competitors, that much, those many chances to put the game to bed. So as long as we don't shoot ourselves in the foot, I think we should be okay. But I think that is just inherent now. I think the banter era is just ingrained with Arsenal Football Club now. So I hope we can get there somewhere. But I think March end we'll know what's gonna happen.
I mean, see what Emery's done to us, man. Like, we used to be a positive bunch, and now we just like not even like realistic anymore. We're just pessimistic about everything. We just think of the worst.
I mean, in credit where it's due, I think I will happily pat myself on the back and say that we would get these wins. I may not have been very accurate on the scoreline, but I think I was sort of confident in the fact that these are teams that Arteta will beat. I think it will be the likes of a Wolves or a Sheffield or the the other big clubs that we will struggle against. But I fully expect us to beat West Ham. I fully expect us to beat Norwich. I don't think the Brighton and the Southampton games will be easy because they're both away. Southampton have been traditionally a bogey side for us. We end up getting thrashed whenever whenever we play them. So yeah, exciting. At least I'm looking forward to those games. If nothing else, I want to see how we do, which wasn't the case until a couple of months back. So.
All right, man. On that positive side, let's move on to the Olympiacos game tomorrow night. We've taken a 1-0 lead. We've got that one away goal, that crucial away goal. Like discussed before, the game's not over because it's still 50-50, and anything is possible with the Arsenal. So, what's your score predictions? Do you think we'll go through? What do you think he's going to put out as a lineup? And if we go through, who do you think we can probably meet in the quarterfinals? Who do you want to play in the quarterfinals? Let's put it that way.
Okay. Let me take those questions backwards. Who do I want to play in the quarters? None of the so-called big clubs.
Why? I would love to knock United out.
No, I don't really want to. I'm petty like that. I'd rather I'd rather just us thrash some ludogret sort of side, and just literally like we win such a tie like 3-0, 4-0, 5-0. Um, and that's how I would want us to win this league as well. I really don't give a shit how we win this tournament. Um, because outside of maybe bantering of United fans, I want us to be back in Champions League. I don't care how we get it, and I if we don't make it through, I can't watch this competition anymore. Like I will not watch this competition until we actually make it to the knockout stages. God forbid we even need to play in this competition anymore from next season onwards. Um, I'd rather us just miss out on Europe completely than have to sit through watching these games again. But having said that, I think tomorrow's game. I think we'll win it. I think Arteta is smart enough to know that the tie is not done, and he will have drilled it into his players. I think we'll win by at least two clear goals on aggregate, at least, because Olympiacos will go for it. And if they score two, that means we need to score two. Uh, if they score two away goals, we'll have to score two, so we're 3-2 up on aggregate. So that I think is something that they'll have to be very wary of, which is why I think those goals in the latter half of the game we should have closed it right then and there, because if you're going with a 2 goal or 3 goal advantage, you just need to score once and the other team then needs to score like 4 times. Um, so I think it'll be a little nervy in the first half, but I think we'll settle in and win by a couple of goals at least. As far as the lineup goes, Leno will obviously Leno. Just another point on Arteta. I think Leno is that was a good call to play Leno in away to Olympiacos. I don't think Martinez, for as solid as he's been, I don't think he would have been able to handle the pressure there.
Made some crucial saves against
Yeah,
Olympiacos.
very crucial, very crucial saves. I think it'll be Leno. It'll be Leno, Saka, Luis, Mustafi, or Socrates, whoever is fit to play. Bellerin comes back in again. Midfield, I think, will remain Xhaka and Ceballos because they've been good. And also, Ceballos is, I think, for the second game of the week now, so, the second half of the Newcastle game as well as the Olympiacos game. I think he's been told to push forward and make the play move forward by playing those diagonal balls and also just running with the ball to feet. I think both of them will play. I think it'll be. I'd like to see Martinelli start, but I don't think he will. I think Martinelli will probably play over for the FA Cup game. Front three will probably be Oba, Laka, and Pepe, and of course Ozil in the hole.
Yeah, I think Arteta will want to do a professional job. He will drill that in his team. He'd be tempted to make changes because of the week that we've just had, 3 games back to back, and knowing that we have a game again Monday night is the competition with that he wants to win. Every trophy counts and every competition counts, and it just helps breed more confidence. The more games we play, the better we play. So I think that is another competition that he'd want to win. But yeah, I think he'd be very tempted to change and rotate his team, but he'd stick to the main players. I think he'd probably make about 1 or 2 changes only, and he'd want them to do a professional job, probably seal the tie by the 50th or 60th minute, so that then he can probably take off Aubameyang, say Ozils, and even like a Xhaka, give them a little breather and bring on some youth. Uh, I'm expecting, if Martinelli is not injured, I'm expecting him to start because I think he'd probably add something to that team. And there was another just before doing this podcast. I was somebody tweeted on Twitter. I think it was Charles White that writes for the Goal, but who's an Arsenal correspondent, was at the training ground where he said that Kieran Tierney has taken part in full training with the boys together for the first time. I mean, it might be a little too early, but probably be. It's a good chance for him to be on the bench, or maybe it might be a little too early. But for him to be back in training is a good sign because we need cover there. It's just been horrific for us with left backs and injuries. Kolasinac has just come back from injury and then have to go into his shoulder like that. And I was reading that it could probably be a pretty serious injury. He could be out for a couple of months. So that's quite of a bummer. But I think more or less, I think his team will stay consistent. Leno was a was a surprising selection for me. I think both of us predicted that Martinez would start because usually they like rotating the league and cup keepers. But Leno started, and I think that was a great call that Leno started because he made some crucial saves where in the first 20 minutes we could have easily been 2 or 3 goals down. And had that happened, the tie would have been easily over. Um, I don't know if he'll play Bellerin because I think he'd not want to risk Bellerin, even though Bellerin's not had the greatest of games. He's come back and he's not looked the same after his injury. I mean, we said the same thing after he had that last injury as well, that he wasn't the same Bellerin. I think he's lost a lot of pace. But I mean, this can happen. He's been out for a long time, and for him to find his rhythm will take some time. You can again see this period for Bellerin as an extended preseason for him to pick up fitness and then probably get back. So I think he probably rest Bellerin as well and start with either Socrates at right back. I'm surprised he's not been playing Ainsley Maitland-Niles. He's been completely frozen out of the side, which is a little surprise because Ainsley was doing pretty well and he's not been selected in the past 3 or 4 games. But I think Socrates plays right back. You can't drop Mustafi. Maybe this is a chance he gives Pablo Murray. Or if Cedric Suarez is fit, probably Cedric Suarez can come in and replace Bellerin, and he could probably try these guys out. This is probably I don't know if he'd want to risk it. Probably save them for the FA Cup. But these are the few changes that he can make there. I think Saka retains his place because we don't have another left back. In midfield, I can see him probably starting Guendouzi over a Ceballos, or maybe starting Guendouzi and Ceballos together and probably resting Xhaka. But it might be a little too much. But I think Xhaka and Ceballos.
I think he'll go for experience and want
Yeah,
to
I
close
think
it.
I think they'll retain. I think they'll retain their shape and the positions. I don't think they'll drop out. I think Özil starts number 10, even though he'd probably be tempted to start with Joe Willock. But I think Özil starts because he didn't play the game last week, who was obviously given leave because his wife was expecting a baby. And the front three, I think, pick themselves. I think it's going to be Oba, Laka, Pepe. And even though Pepe didn't play last week, I think he probably play at the Emirates. It'll be a good confidence booster. I'm hoping that we finish the game probably in the first half, score about 2 3 goals. It's not going to be easy, but I'm hoping that we can probably quickly kill the game so that he can rest his players and then look forward to Monday night's game against Pompey.
No, you're right. I, I have a feeling he will go with a settled squad and a settled 11. I just hope he come out of it because a 1-0 lead is dangerous. Even if we score two, they can score two and they can go through. Or three rather. If we score two, it will be 3-0 up, and then if they score three, then they can go through. Um, I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll be a decent result for us tomorrow. And I expect him to pick I think the same 11. In fact, outside of people who haven't started because of injuries. When does the draw happen? Is the draw next week for?
No, I think the draw happens immediately after the. I think it's.
Because I think the
No,
second
I
legs
think
for the Champions League have to
yeah, yeah,
happen.
yeah. So post the Champions League draw, will have probably be next week. Yeah, right, right. So quickly, then I know you predicted us by the scoreline of a couple of aggregate goals by 2 or 3 goals. So what's your scoreline predictions for tomorrow?
I think it'll be close. I think it'll probably be 3-1.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll win by a couple of goals at least,
Nice.
because Olympiacos have to go for it, and that will open up space, and I think they'll also tire out as well, because they won't be able to, at least at home. We should be, at least we're finally winning at home as well now, so I think that will also do us in good stead. Just having the feeling that you can win at home again. Uh, I'm just, again, like I said, I'm just at the risk of repeating myself. Olympiacos will go for it, and that will open up spaces, and we should be able to take advantage of that.
Yeah, I think if we can keep them, because I think they're going to come out all guns blazing because they have nothing to lose. So if we can keep them quiet for the first 20 25 minutes, I think we can easily win this game by 3 goals, 3 or 4 goals, and build more confidence from there. Because I think once we score, I think the heads drop, and they know it's going to be too hard for them to come back. So then once it almost feels like if you get one goal, like the floodgates open, sorry, and like you could probably put 3 or 4 past them. So I'm expecting us to go out and do a professional job and win about by 3 goals. Uh, so on that note, Samrit, thanks again. It was great talking with you as always. And as mentioned by Samrit at the start of the show, we are on YouTube at the Arsenal Way. So please subscribe. There's a bell icon below. Please click it. So every time we come out with a video, you get a notification. Our socials, we're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. It's the Arsenal Way. Please give us a follow. Please share and comment and tell your friends. We're still growing. We need your help, and it would be great if you could help us. Thanks, Amrit.
Yeah,
And
thanks, man. This is good. We should have done one earlier, but I guess that's what happens with life and everything else. I guess.
see you next week before the pump
Yeah, talk to you
begins.
soon, man. Take care. Thanks, guys, for tuning in.
Bye.